Hello, I recently did a video on the Solina string machine. Very nice. I'll put a link in down there somewhere for it. However, since that, this has come my direction to keep. It's ours. And this is the Eminent Solina F225. It's not the Jean-Michel Jarre 310U that everybody exchanges for huge amounts of money, but still, it's very, very close. It's got all the same strings and everything in there, but it's got a few problems, as things do. One of the pedals is continuously on all the time, and that is really irritating because that's not the note I want. On top of that, if I press the reeds, you press the button in and go make a cup of tea and come back, and eventually it's kicked into place. So there's a serious bit of a delay happening there. Don't know what that is. Some of the buttons for the modulators, the orbitone and whatever, definitely need a bit of a clean up because they don't activate every time you press them in. And it's got the typical vintage organ problem where the keys that are played the most are clicking like hell because the felt has given way over time. Now this one's a bit of a special one because JM himself has signed it for us. No, not Jean-Michel, Jean-Man. His Eminence himself has been along, had a play on this and signed it for us. So it's got to stay now, it's got to stay in our possession. So without further ado, if you're still interested, I'm going to take it apart, we're going to have a look inside and have a look at all those wonderful electronics and whatever that's inside these things, and try and get it fixed. So, screwdriver time. Now this is a bit of a heavy beast, and the top has got a hinge on the back of it, so there's a couple of screws here to hang on, making the same mistake here. This is a vintage instrument. You can't use these on vintage instruments. Got to get a flat one. There you go, a Bakelite screwdriver. So we'll take these off, get the lid lifted up, whiz it around, and we'll have a look in the back. Right, between the two of us, we're going to get this slidey concertina lid out. So we'll go up and just upwards. That's it. Like so. Oh my lord. Let's get a good close-up in there. Now then, here are the contacts for the foot pedals. When you press the foot pedal, it lifts this white plastic, and that's got a connection, and that connects to this piece of metal here, and so makes the sound of the foot pedal. Now then, this one to the left of it, here, that piece of spring is caught underneath it. That might have been done when we was moving it around, and this has been on a van for a few days as well, travelling all the way down from Norfolk. So if I just release that, that should be it, hopefully. I won't switch it on and test it just yet, but we'll just say yay okay. I think that's probably the foot pedal sorted already. So we'll get back into the rest of it, but I think that's probably all the foot pedals do really. I think that's going to be the only problem, hopefully. Right, moving on then to the rest of the keyboard. So hopefully we've fixed the pedal problem, but we'll find out that when we fire it up in a bit. Now if you remove the screws off this sort of bed post thing that's going off here, all this metal work, there's a piece of string. And this string, as you will notice, has got a couple of little knots in it, both placed at the same length. And that obviously gives you the clue that you can drop these sections down. And pretty. Was it the red wire or the blue wire? Right. So one of the next problems is the orbitone. For some strange reason that doesn't work too well. We don't know whether it's going to be the switch, but I'm going to put a bit of switch cleaner in there anyway. Well, we've got to find out which board is the orbitone board. Now we've got the preset voicings here. This is your rhythm board, This one's your pedal boards, your Celeste board, amplifier, and your Orbitone is actually this section here. So anybody who wants to have a look inside one of these, that is where your Orbitone is. So we're going to either have a problem on there or a problem in the switching at the top. So we'll get into that board and probably do a few tests, but I'm just going to clean the button up and see if it works first, because if it does, easy fix, no worries. But if it doesn't, then we're going to have to start getting soldering iron out and having a look at the Orbitone board. Now, these are the Orbitone button and sustain and tibias, etc. So all I'm going to do, I'm going to blast a bit of cleaner in there, a bit of this magic stuff, and if the Orbitone works properly after that, then that's fine, end of story. But if not, then we'll have to dig a little bit deeper into the circuit boards. So let me get a bit of cleaner up actually inside there and see. When you spray the cleaner in, obviously, work the buttons a little bit. So if there's any crap and crud that's up there, you'll be moving it out of the way. Don't just spray the cleaner in and do nothing. So, and you only need a tiny bit. You don't need to drown the thing. Right, they actually feel quite solid now. I mean solid as in positive. They feel quite much more positive now. They're not so clicky. Oh, yeah. Well, that definitely feels better. Right, okay, so I'm going to fire the thing up now, and while I'm at it, I'm also going to have a go at the pedals and just make sure that the pedals are working, because I think that easy fix for the pedals has probably done the job. But mainly, we'll test the Orbitone. So, power it up. Right, okay, I've fired it back up, and now I'm going to test the pedals. But already, I hear the pedal isn't on continuously like it was before, so at least we've done something. But anyway, let's see what happens. I'll be back in a minute. Brilliant! We fixed it! Well, the pedals work now anyway. Now, the other bit was the Orbitone. So, let's see what happens with that. Well, let's hear what happens with that at least. Oh, baby! You can hear it spinning up faster and then slowing down again. Oh, what can I say? Fixed it. Well, fixed those problems anyway. Right, okay, there's other little quirks on this. The key clicks need doing. Yeah, right, let's get a little bit further into it. Well, let me at least show you it all opened up so you can, you know, we can have a look in this as well, because it's no good just doing an easy peasy fix. One of these lights is out up here because there's a dry solder joint and it's just wobbling around. You can see the pin coming in and out there. So I'm going to retouch that up with some solder and put a new bulb in, because I think the bulb's gone, that's for sure. Yeah, definitely. But yeah, we'll sort that out and yeah, find out what needs doing next. Okay, moving on. So the pedals are working, the Orbitone's working, and there's a couple of other little niggly problems that need doing on it, like the key clicking and things. And also, one of the bulbs is out here because there is, well, as you can see, it's physically moving because there's a dry joint here. Now, over time, that's probably what's made that bulb go, coming on and off, on and off, on and off. So, you know, I've got to solder that, and we'll just have a general tidy up, clean up. But have the chance to have a look inside it, and I'll try and explain as much as I can what little knowledge I've got of exactly what all these boards are doing. So if you've got one of these at home, you'll know where to go to at least to try and fix problems yourself. But yeah, okay, let's move on. I forgot, actually, one of the bits that's not working properly is the reeds. When you activate the reeds, there's quite a bit of a delay before it kicks in. So there is a little bit more of a technical job on this. So shall we have a look for that next? Let's find out where the reeds board is when we've opened all this up. Right, ooh, by the way, I just love doing this. On these reverbs here, on the spring reverbs. Sorry, I just had to do that. It sounds so cool. Right, okay, I'm going to switch it off and we'll have a look for the reeds board. Now, the reed switch has a red wire and a white wire with red dots running on it. So if we follow this around into the circuit boards and things, we should be able to find out which circuit board is controlling the reeds. However, there is a problem. Here at the harpsichord, that has a red wire with a white wire and red tags. So it's got the same combination of the two wires. So by the time we get to the board with the red wire and the white wire with the red tag, it could be harpsichord, it could be reeds, but let's try and figure out which one it is. So it's coming down this way. Right. So we'll open this section up again. Oh, I think that's so nice, that is. That's wonderful stuff. And those wires, are they coming down there? No, we've got to undo another layer. This section folds forward as well. So no wonder these are so heavy. Right, here we go. Isn't that beautiful? There's speakers in there. Anyway, here we can see on the board here, red and then white with red. What is it? I don't know. It could be the harpsichord, could be the reeds. And if we look on here, there's also a red with a white red. So one of them's harpsichord and one of them's reeds. Now this is possibly, it looks like there's a little bit sort of board damage going off there. You can zoom into that. But that's not in the section that we're worried about. So, okay. It comes onto some chips. So let's flip it over and have a look at what these chips are. These chips might just be flip-flops which switch these voices in and out. Second one along. I can't actually find, but for some reason the reeds now are working perfectly. It's not fair. I wanted it to carry on doing what it was doing so we could try and trace a fault in there, but the only thing I did find is on this board here, this is to do with your switching, and this section here is for the reeds, and for some strange reason there's a new candy strike capacitor in there. Well, I say new candy strike capacitor, it's not new. Well, it's one that's been changed, it's not the same as all the rest that's in the row there. And that is on the line where the reeds is. But, strangely enough, now the reeds kick in straight away. I mean, I have wiggled them around, but I can't see any dry joints or anything like that. The chip works, everything's fine. So, okay, well, I'll just leave that for now and move on to the next problem. The next problem, of course, very noisy sliders. Oh. So, yeah, we'll get into these and just give them a clean up. But sadly enough, the reeds are working now. It's probably one of those temporary problems that's going to appear again as soon as I've screwed the whole thing back together. But anyway, yeah, okay. Right, I'm going to clean up the switches for the sliders and solder that joint up there. Yeah, okay. Move on then. See, I'm annoyed now. Right, I'm just going to clean up the slides. Now, we don't have to take all the slides out at all. We can just put it down like that. A little bit of cleaner in there. Slide it up and down a few times. That might just do the job. If it doesn't clean it up, then we'll take the panel out instead and actually get into the physical switch. But nasty, nasty. So, a little bit of this in here. And then, it's going, as you can hear. There you go. And now that's nice and smooth now. It's quite simple. Just kind of this stuff. You can mend everything with it. Right, okay, we've got it all open again, and I've just kind of figured out how to get into the top here. There's a couple of little countersunk screws in a tiny hole, and these grey bits are actually hinges, and this allows you to hinge the top keyboard up at least. And just wedge a little screw in here, and that will hopefully hold it in place so that I can get some more work done. Alright, okay, we're going to sort the felts out on this thing now, hopefully. So, moving on. Wrap that as tight as possible. Gotcha, you bastard. Right, yeah, so that looks like one of those small car volt bulbs. Aha! 24 volts. Oh, right, okay. Get the box of bulbs out. Let's see what we can do. Some of these bulbs are older than me, and yet I can't seem to find a 24 volt bulb for this. So what I'm going to do instead, because this is smack bang in the middle of the keyboard and it's going to be so obvious that that bulb has gone, I'm going to take one of the far end ones out and replace it. So it won't look too bad then, it'll look more sort of evenly lit if I just take one of the far end ones out. But I don't want just one bulb right in the middle missing, so I'm afraid I'm going to have to do that. Because this is a 24 and I haven't got no 24s. Oh well, never mind, I'll do that then. I'm not too sure, but the difference between the 220 and the 225 is this little board here. Now what this board does is it's got the ribbon cable, obviously, that runs to these LEDs here. And these LEDs are for your intros and fill-ins and whatnots. But this strip, this entire strip across here, you can just touch it and it'll go to fill-in. So while you're playing along, you can sort of touch with your thumb, touch with your finger, and it activates the fill-in, so it's like a touch sensor. There's a little variable pop there, and I haven't quite figured out what that's for yet. It's either going to be for the brightness of the LEDs, which I very much doubt it, or it might be something to do with the touch sensor to make it more responsive or less. But yeah, I'll have a fiddle about with that later. Now I'm going to put this board back on. What I've done with John Mann's signature is I've taken this panel out and put some clear lacquer on it and put it all back in again, so that'll be there forever. Right, okay. Let's get it all back together again and have a look around those circuit boards that I keep promising, but I'm not getting there. Okay, that goes down, and oh, vintage, lovely. Let's have a look around this. So as you see, all the boards very nice, very neat. I mean, the man hours of having to solder all these wiring looms in must have been incredible. That's probably why these were so expensive. But look how nice and neat they are. It's wonderful. This looks like the most complicated board on there. It's the arpeggio board. I don't know the exact name for it, but that basically does all your arpeggio stuff. This is the arpeggio controller here, and then to the left of it, these are for your tibia. Two boards identical. Going down, this is a switching board. This is for all your selections of pianos and bass and trumpets and God knows what. And basically this is just sort of logical switching. Over here, moving to the left, we've got, this is like the motherboard. It's sort of the keying matrix. Lots of nice boards plugged in there. And all your keys run into this, and then this sends it off to all the different boards for playing the notes off on there. So yeah, that's called the motherboard. This one here at the back is to do with drawbars, preset drawbars, that one is. And then we've got an anti-bounce board. Wow. I think they must have made some of these out of rubber in the past, and that's an anti-bounce board. No, I'm just being a prat now, sorry. This one over here is power supply effects and things. That's a master oscillator, this board here. I'm going to flip it up so you can see the other side of it. There you go, one chip. That's your master oscillator. You turn that and everything's out of tune. So if you need a tuning, it's just one little screw there and you'll get it all tuned up again. You can see the speakers in the back. One big bass and two mid-ranges. Yeah, very nice. Okay, well what I'm going to do, I'm going to stick a couple of screws in here and then we'll get the next board. I'll have a quick look into that. Okay, screwed that one up there, and now we're down to the next section. Now these two boards is all for the sort of rhythms and, you know, drums and whatever. This little row of wires here comes from the arpeggio, so this is a arpeggio synchronization. You know, this one talks to this, and yeah, well, you get the idea, sort of thing. Lots of little boards down the bottom there. Not dead sure what they do without having a really good look. This is preset voicing here, and trouble is, you look on this side and it all looks the same. Jason says it looks like a bag of licorice all sorts. Okay, fair enough. Right, the Orbitone amplifier is there, and your main power supply is here with your audio amp as well. And then moving around to my left, hey, I like this little cutout. It's like a little desk, isn't it? You can make a little coffee table. This section here is your pedal board. This is your Celeste board. And this one here is another, I haven't got a clue. Just, yeah, something to do with the voicings anyway. But looking on the other side, all the chips are 4000 series chips mainly. And then lots of nice old components. Just pull these little strings through. Because we are putting this back together now. And we're going to check that it's all up and running. Should I tie this? I better tie that. It was tied originally anyway. So I'll get that back together. But yeah, I quite like that. Now in some of my videos I tend to take things apart and sort of see how long it takes me to put it back together again. So I could dismantle this and see how long it takes me to put it back together again. No, I don't think so. Not a chance. But there's a horrible bit of lamp flex on a knackered plug here. So before I get the back on, I'm just going to get rid of this flex and put a decent one on, because that's for bedside lamps, that stuff is. I think it's about 150 watts, this keyboard is. It's completely ample. I mean, it'll handle it, but it's just, yeah, put a decent cable on it. Something a bit chunkier. And now to play us at the wonderful organal, and this is a self-composed piece, so no copyright breaches there. Thank you very much for watching.